Hello, good morning. My name is Dakshina Murthy, and I started the workshop to actually tell real life stories. That's why I joined the workshop. So, what I'm going to do in today's performance is also actually pick up a real life story. But I'm going to try and experiment it telling the story as a third person. So, I'm going to narrate what happened, but in a story format. Right? So, this happened to me, but I'm going to bring in imaginary characters and tell it as a story, and that's what I'm trying to do. So it goes something like this. Right? It was the August of 2012, and Prashant was nicely asleep on a Sunday morning, having a very lazy, Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, still on the bed, and air conditioned, full on, inside his bed sheet, happily sleeping, and wakes up to a phone call, 8 o'clock, and with a lot of hesitation, he picks up the phone and said, "Hello." And it's his friend from back in college, and it's been 7 months he hasn't spoken to him. And his friend says, "Hey, we're all meeting at Bessie tonight, 6 to 8 o'clock. We're meeting up for dinner. I hope to see you there." And this guy inside this bedsheet, Prashant, doesn't know what just happened. I'm still asleep, but this guy called me and said, he didn't even ask me, "How are you?" He just said, "We're meeting at Bessie at 6 o'clock tonight." He was confused, but at the same time, he was a lot happy. And he said, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. Who all are coming?" And he said, "I don't know, man. I'm calling as many people as possible. Whoever makes it will be lovely." And he cuts the call. And I wake up and, okay, what just happened? But whatever, I'm really happy. I'm going to meet my friends today. So I wake up, make up some quick breakfast, have some coffee and some breakfast, and for some reason open up my laptop and started zooming through all those pictures from college in the past. The memories of implant trainings, memories of workshop, memories of classes, all the fun memories. And 12 o'clock came from nowhere, and I decided, hey, why not actually let me go to another college friend of mine who stays 8 kilometers away. I'll spend the afternoon with him, and from there I'll go along with him to the get together. So I take up my bike, and my bike is my best possession till date. Prashant is very, very, very happy about his bike, and that was his first possession after he got a job. So he really, really loves it, and he sits on it, feels like a king on his horse, and he starts riding his bike to his friend's place. They have a nice evening, but his friend is insistent on saying that, "Hey, you know what, let's not go in your bike. I'm on the heavier side. Your bike has a seat much, much higher in the air, and it feels very uncomfortable to me. I'm not sitting on this bike." With a lot of hesitation, we take his bike, a Honda Activa. And later, Prashant is going to come to realize that that was a really good decision that we took. So we drive past Medavakkam, Tambaram, Medavakkam. We reach Velachery. And from some nowhere, there is metal screeching on the road. There is a loud thump, boom. And we couldn't care less because Prashant and Bharat were consistently talking about their college stories and memories and making fun of their professors. And while we close, we see there's a massive traffic jam there, right? Now, Bharat is like, okay, how do we get past this traffic jam? It's really late. We need to reach Bessie as soon as possible. I couldn't, for the world, I couldn't miss half an hour with our friends. Prashant is like, "No, man, just go through other routes are very much more, worse. Let's go by this route." And we reach closer, and Prashant wants to get down the bike, and he goes and sees there's a guy lying on the floor, on the road, right? There is saliva coming all over his mouth. There is blood from his head. There is blood from his shoulders. There is torn clothes all over, and the bike on this guy's leg, right? Bharat is very hesitant to get out of this bike. Right? He says, "What are you doing?" But as every Tamilian and every Indian that I have seen on Indian roads, Prashant's like, "No, at least let me just go see what's happening, and then we can go." Right? So Prashant gets down from his bike, goes, sees what it is. Then he sees this gory picture, and he can't just let go of it. Oh my God! Somebody should at least pick him up and put him on the side of the road. He's still in the middle of the road. Bharat is like, "What the hell are you doing? It's time. Let's go." And Prashant somehow is feeling very uneasy, he's feeling very uncomfortable, and he decides to pick the courage to pick this guy by hands, and for the gentleman picked the other guy by his legs, and we put him on the side of the road, and they called 108, right? When Prashant called 108, the guy on the other line of the phone says, "Which hospital do you want to take him to?" Prashant is confused. He says, "That's exactly why I'm calling you. I don't know who this guy is. He's on the road. He's filled with saliva and blood all over. Take him to some hospital nearby." He says, no, whoever is taking him to the hospital has to take full responsibility of him. Prashant's like, okay, fine, I'll take the responsibility, just send in an ambulance. And for 5-10 minutes, there was no sign of ambulance. And by this time, Bharat is very uncomfortable. He says, okay, it's time I go. So Prashant picks up the courage and says, hey, you know what? This is really important to you. Why don't you go to Bessie? I'll join you later. Right? Prashant has no clue what he is supposed to do, but he just picks up the courage to say, you go, I'll join you. Right? Now, he picks up this guy and puts him in an auto, and the auto guy says, there is a hospital right here, Venkateshwara Hospital. Let's take him to Venkateshwara Hospital. We take him to the casualty. The doctor looks at Prashant, it's a very weird look. Is this guy related to you? Is he your friend? And for everything, Prashant says, no, no, no. And why exactly would I treat him? This is the first time Prashant is feeling this uneasiness, saying, okay, I just tried to help somebody and everybody's putting me at the spot. The doctor says, okay, fine. It is going to take, even for the first aid, I'm going to cost you like 3,000 rupees. Will you be okay? Will you bear the cost? Prashant, out of nowhere, he says, okay, fine, I'll do it. Just take him to the casualty, at least stop his blood from, like flowing. There's a lot of blood he's losing. Doctor says, okay, fine, they take him. And to surprise, the doctor says, he's drunk, I'm not treating him. He's absolutely drunk, I'm nowhere else I'm going to treat him. Prashant, for some reason, he literally picks the legs, he touches the feet and says, hey, I have no clue who this guy is. I was on my way to meet my friends. I have no clue. All I want to make sure is he doesn't die. He was on my lap and I brought him to the hospital in a private auto. All I want is this guy to not die. Just do anything for him to not die. Doctor said, okay, fine. I see what's your point. And he does some first aid and he gives a bill of 3,000 rupees. Prashant pays this 3,000 rupees and he's back into nowhere land, standing at the lobby of the hospital, not knowing what the hell to do. And there comes the nurse with a plastic packet with his ID card and the guy's phone, right? I pick up the phone and the phone is locked. I try numerous number of patterns, nothing's working. And I see an ID card that says he works as a driver in one of the IT companies nearby, right? Now, Prashant is perplexed and there is a phone number on the ID card and he picks up this phone number, it doesn't ring. And the other phone number is his own phone, right? Now Prashant is absolutely confused and he decides, okay, so the best thing I have to do at this point is to ask the doctor, what do I do? I don't know what is the legal thing to do. So Prashant goes to the doctor and asks, doctor, what do you think I should do? Go and admit him in a government hospital, right? So where do I get the ambulance? The 108 does not come. Prashant is now confused again. So he again goes to the hospital, ambulance center, and he hires an ambulance, and the ambulance guy says 2,000 rupees. Right? He said, okay, fine, let's just take him to Royalpeta Government Hospital. Now Prashant takes him in the ambulance, and he starts conversing with the driver. The driver is such a nice, polite guy. He asks, he said, doesn't look like you and this guy are related in any sense. Why are you doing what's happening? And Prashant narrates the whole story and he said, okay, show me the ID card, let me take you to the address. Right? Prashant, for the first time in the last 4 hours, suddenly feels a breath of fresh air and said, okay, fine, here is somebody who actually wants to be with me on this. So we find this address and we start driving to the place. It's one of the most dangerous, shady, scary place that Prashant has ever seen. It's right behind the IT companies in a slum. It's a dump yard for the southern part of the city, and right behind is a slum. Prashant takes this in an ambulance, and on the way he enters, he sees prostitution. There is drug peddlers. It's like a proper movie that seems. And at this point, Prashant's confidence is slowly breaking. What's happening? Okay, I am not getting killed. I'm not getting mugged. What's happening? And he speaks to the driver and said, don't worry, I know all these areas, don't worry about this. So they walk in and they finally found the house. The mother outside the house comes and looks with perplexed face. Who's this? What are you doing? Prashant picks up the courage to say, there is somebody who met with an accident. He's in the car. Would you like to see if it's your son? Then the mother goes, hey, why? He said, oh my God, you have tried to kill my son. Prashant is absolutely confused, terrified, his knees trembling, his hands shivering. He doesn't know what to do. The lady comes, she looks at the body guy. He said, "Oh my God, you've got the body of my son." He is still alive. He is very much alive. He is breathing. Prashant says, "I've got him first aid. This is what the doctor has written," and he is asked to take him to the hospital. The mother is not convinced. She said, "No, you have transplanted the kidney of my son to somebody. You have stolen the kidney of my son. You have tried to kill him, and the whole place is now coming together." Prashant is close to crying. He is so close to crying. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what he has gotten himself into. Finally, there comes a policeman. And Prashant goes and calls him in. Prashant narrates the whole story of what has happened. The policeman looks at the doctor's record of bills paid, and he looks at the he looks at the medicines that have been injected to him. He says, "Where's your ID card?" Prashant shows his ID card. The policeman, to his surprise, gave one tight slap to the big elder brother of the injured guy. He said, "Here is a man who has been trying to help you so much, and you guys are actually putting him at the spot saying that he stole kidney." I have never been thankful to anybody than this policeman. Prashant was so relieved. The police guy suggested that, "See, Prashant, this is a very violent community. Whatever money you have, give them more." Right? Prashant finally had some 2,000 more rupees. Prashant gave this 2,000 rupees to the mother of the injured guy, and they took him in the ambulance, right? And they took him to Roypeta. The police guy dropped me at the nearest bus stand. Prashant walked all the way to his house. He was terrified. Prashant couldn't sleep. Next day morning, he decided to go to his parents' place. And he actually sat by his mother. He put his head on his mother's lap, and he cried for 15 full minutes. The whole night, Prashant was tortured by the idea of saliva and blood on his lap, and somebody complaining that you transplanted kidney for my son. Prashant couldn't take this. Prashant was terrified. And Bharat calls the next day and asks, "Why didn't you come to the get together?" And Prashant said, "No, I was a little unwell. I had to go back home." And till date, Prashant lives in a dilemma of should he take people who are injured on the road to the hospital or not.